Good afternoon, welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro Television, coming to you live from the Ikwa Bohima studios here at North Ridge. My name is Ifwa Ando, coming up in the next 60 minutes. Environmental activists petition Attorney General IGP over authorities' failure to prosecute foreigners engaged in illegal mining. Meanwhile, Deputy Lands Minister says Aisha Huang will this time around face the full rigors of the law. Interior Ministry reviews curfew imposed in Boko and its environs following renewed threats of insecurity in the area. Plus, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson meets the Queen at Balmoral to offer his resignation. Aisha Huang, a 47-year-old Galamsey kingpin who was deported in 2019, is back in Ghana and mining without license. She's facing a charge of mining without a license and engaging in the sale and purchase of minerals without a valid license. Her accomplices have also been charged with engaging in the sale and purchase of minerals without a license. We will be engaging some experts on the matter, but first, you recall sometime in 2019, then Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo said it was not in the country's interest to jail her as it was not going to solve our money problem. Instead, he said stiffer regulations are required to nip the problem in the bud. Here is Osafo-Maafo speaking.
Good relationship with China. They're the main company that is helping develop the infrastructure system in Ghana. Is Sino Hydro. It's a Chinese company. It's the one that's going to help process our bauxite and provide about $2 billion to us. So when there are these kind of arrangements, there are other things behind the scenes. Putting that lady in jail in Ghana is not going to solve your economic problems. It's not going to make you happy or me happy. That's not important. The most important thing is that it's been deported out of Ghana. So we must say it's not wrong. I'm saying that there are many other things beyond what you see in these matters. And everybody is wide awake. The most important thing is that we have planned this, we have established regulations, and we are protecting our environment. And that is far more important.
Meanwhile, environmental advocacy groups have petitioned the Attorney General to provide details of the number of foreign nationals arrested for engaging in illegal mining in Ghana and their nationalities. They are demanding the following. Now let's turn to a video and check out what they are demanding. Finding below the full demands in the petition. Share with Ghanaians the number of foreign nationals arrested for engaging in illegal mining in Ghana and their nationalities. 2, number of those arrested that are currently in jail. 3, number of those who have been released and for what reason. 4, number of those deported and under what conditions. 5, number of such deportees who have returned. 6, measures that have been put in place to ensure the new people coming do not engage in illegal mining in Ghana. Let's engage a small-scale miner on this. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan is the Communications Director of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Mining. He's joining us on the phone now. Good afternoon to you. Now, some of your members feel government is dealing with foreigners involved in legal mining with kid gloves. Is this a vindication of their view?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I greet all your listeners. It's true, when it comes to foreigners, I think we are not being treated fairly as Ghanaians, because if you come to the laws of this country, the small-scale mining sector is meant for only and only Ghanaians. And any time that foreigners are engaged into these illegal activities, the only thing we hear is that they've been arrested and they've been deported, and that ends it. Whether it's true that they've been deported, whether it's not true, we don't know how the whole thing is. But when it comes to Ghanaians, you see them being arrested, prosecuted, and even some are in prison, are in jail as we speak. Meanwhile, by law, the law has mandated that Ghanaians and only Ghanaians have to work in the industry. So if Ghanaians who are even mandated to work in the industry, some of them goes through the illegal means and they've been arrested and prosecuted and then jail some of them. Whilst those who don't even have the right to even go into that industry, that sector, the small-scale mining sector, they come in, do whatever they want to do, pollute our water bodies, destroy our forest reserves, and the only thing government could do is arrest them and deport them. Sometimes it's very pathetic.
Al-Hassan, you're obviously not happy about the situation, but generally tell us, what do you make of all of this?
The reason being that sometimes it is very difficult to even comprehend because your own people are being jailed whilst the foreign nationals are being left off the hook. And sometimes we've been saying this severally that I think we need to depoliticize the sector and make sure that politics is not part of it. Any politician who wants to go into that sector, follow due process, acquire your license, work as a business person. There's no sector which says that if you're a politician or a chief, you can work. So far as you are a Ghanaian and then you have all the right to work, you can come and work as a business person, but not to sit somewhere and then at least be sponsoring some people. Some people are using the political lens and those things.
But you feel politics is part of this whole issue?
If politics is not part of it, my sister, you imagine somebody who was creating problem in this country, she has been arrested. Then a whole senior minister says the only thing they could do is to what? Deport her. A president said it was mistakenly done. Now, it's an opportunity for them. If it was mistake that they deported her, now they've gotten her. They should let the laws of the country deal with her. If they do it properly, no one will complain. The laws that we are being treated by the law, that same law should be treated. It should be used to treat these foreigners so that we will know that all of us are being treated fairly. But to arrest and deport them just like that, whilst the Ghanaians are being suffered and being prisoned, that is where some of us are feeling very bad.
Now, what do you want done differently? If you can be brief, I'd very much appreciate it. What do you want done differently?
The only thing is that every foreigner should leave our sector alone. And what we can do is the government officials should make sure that these foreigners leave this sector, these small-scale mining sectors, alone and allow us to police our own selves and do the work very diligently and follow due process and take our licenses and do our work, rather than mingling with our issues here and there.
Right. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan is the Communications Director of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Mining. Thank you very much. Now, also joining us via Zoom is private legal practitioner Justice Abdullahi. Good afternoon to you. What do you think possibly went wrong in the prosecution of this case?
Good afternoon. It's very difficult to say because the state did not provide us with any basis for entering noli prosequi when the lady was put before court. And so, in noli prosequi as it is in its form, the state does not have any obligation to inform us as to the basis for entering it. So once the state does without informing us, it becomes difficult for us to be able to guess. However, if you listen to what the president said and what the senior minister, said, and which silently the president appeared to be in support of until subsequent events made him change his mind to assume that or believe or think that the previous decision was was out of mistake or erroneous. It clearly see that the AG's decision to enter noli prosequi was informed by the decision of the government at the time that there was no gainful activity from prosecuting Aisha 1 at the time. And of course, ostensibly because the Chinese government was giving us about $2 billion. And that amount of money, of course, no Ghanaian can give us. And so if you were Ghanaian, you were good enough to go to prison. But if you're a Chinese or any other foreigner who could give us $2 billion, then obviously you could be allowed to flout the laws of the Republic of Ghana and still walk free. If you go by that conduct of the state and indeed, of the senior minister and the president, then obviously the only conclusion to be drawn from the entry of the Noli Prosequi was purely as a result of this issue. And that is not, of course, it's not a legal issue. It's a political decision, and it cannot be a basis of any discussion within the legal angle. But clearly, it's a wrong decision that was made. We have a very good opportunity now. There's an obviously known lady within the criminal jurisdiction of this country, having been earlier attempted to be prosecuted. And so I have no doubt that if all the facts and evidence are put before the court, the judge would enhance any sentences that she probably, if convicted, of course, if convicted, sentence be enhanced to reflect her penchant for doing, breaking our laws as she's known to be doing.
Now, do you think it is a reflection of some of the flaws of our judicial system?
It is not entirely a flaw in the judicial system. It's rather a plus in the judicial system to be able to enter a Noli Prosequi for genuine reasons, of course. I can understand the fact that we abuse every good thing in this country. And because Noli Prosequi was originally not designed to be used as an abusive tool. It was designed to enable the state where it genuinely finds two main grounds. If the state genuinely finds that indeed there are no good grounds for prosecuting the person, it will not waste its time, and then allow the person to walk and sleeping dogs to lie. Or on the other hand, where the state comes, maybe subsequent investigations brings about solid and better evidence or possibly other crimes that the state feels for good reasons to prosecute those ones, which may probably not help if included in the original prosecution that was ongoing. Then the Noli Prosequi can be used as a tool to withdraw the suit, and then that's why you see that immediately a person is Noli Prosequi is entered, the person is arrested right at the court premises. The moment he leaves the court premises, he or she is arrested, and then fresh charges preferred against the person, and then the prosecution starts all over again. Now these two are the positive usages for which Noli Prosequi were designed originally to ensure, to achieve. But in our jurisdiction, of course, it has a completely different interpretation and indeed sometimes application. We use it for the positive way and we also use it for the negative ways as well. And that does not inure to the benefit of anyone.
Now, Justice, how can we remedy the situation now that she's been rearrested?
Well, apart from the scandal, of course, that it brings her, rearrest brings to the table, and then of course, the obvious embarrassment that this put all of us through, particularly the executive, the senior minister still around, the president still around. This obvious embarrassment is good for all of us, for us to know how shameful we are as people. But to be able to show that indeed we've learned our lessons and that we are willing to walk the talk, I would strongly recommend that the prosecution, a serious look is taken at the prosecutorial portions of this whole event. If need be, the AG would have to prosecute this by himself. Not as a person, but the AG as an institution will have to prosecute this. And they would have to go for the stiffest punishment, the highest form of punishment available within any charges that should be charged with.
Justice Abdullah is a private legal practitioner. Thank you very much indeed. Very much appreciate your time. Now, moving on, still on that same topic, a Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, George Mrekuduka, says Aisha Wan will be made to face the stiffer punishment this time around. He dismissed claims that the authorities are lenient on foreign nationals while cracking the whip on locals.
Interestingly, we're not discriminating at all. Whoever will get you on the field will get you arrested. And the fortunate one is that Aisha Wan that you've just mentioned. I cannot comment on what happened years back, but I can comment on what has happened during my regime. As a deputy minister responsible for mining and as a substantive minister, Honorable Samuel A. Jinapo has to be redirected. I mean, he's been arrested, and that is what should even prompt you that we're not discriminating in any way, making sure that whoever we meet on the field, whether you are an engineer, whether you are a professor, whether you politician, whether you will be arrested. Just recently, I mean, if you remember what happened at Elembele, where some people were detained by the police. So we leaving no stone unturned. Unfortunately, most of these people who are behind this mining don't get to the field. You may hear, yes, a Chinese, but you will not go there and see him around. Those who are met by the security agencies are arrested. I am Deputy Minister responsible for mining, but I don't have that kind of pedigree to determine who is to be jailed and who is not. That, I mean, the judges and the lawyers and the security agencies can answer better. I would do. But we, as a ministry, it is our mandate to regularize the evidence that will be laid before the court. We believe the law will take its own course.
Jail term?
Let's allow the judges to make the pronouncement. The report that I have seen, I think it's concrete enough for some hard punishment to be meted.
Let's stay a while longer on the fight against illegal mining. My colleague Kenneth Jesse is interacting with the public relations officer for the Ghana Immigration Service on how the Chinese national evaded immigration authorities and re-entered Ghana. Let's cross over now.
On a different identity, change of name, change of biodata in her passports, and all that. And again, because she knows what the Ghana Immigration Service is when it comes to profiling, the information we have now is that she entered through Togo and then used an unapproved route. These informations we are yet to confirm, but that is how we have as to her entry. Because if you go to Aflawo, we have systems there that you will not find her details captured in our PISA system. So obviously, she might have used an unapproved route. And again, based on the third or fourth layer of our strategy, she was intercepted through intelligence with the support of defense intelligence. Ghana's borders under the control of the Ghana Immigration Service, I would say, is very safe. And we all know the threats that currently is facing the sub-region. And I wouldn't say it's just because of our hard work, but also with the hand of God on our side. And we have beefed up our border patrol officers at the various points of entry, and also trying to cover as much as possible the unapproved routes. And we are using a combination of operational strategies, and that is engaging the border communities to collaborate with our officers by providing us with the necessary information about suspicious movements along the frontiers. We are also engaging with transport owners because when these people are able to use unapproved to enter, definitely they need to be bused to the city centers. So we are at the bus terminals and also working with Okada operators and what have you. Then if you come inland, we have at certain strategic positions along the main border roads, we have checkpoints to also do a second profiling of all buses coming from the border areas. And we are doing all these things to make sure that even if somebody should use an unapproved route, immigration will be able to intercept along the route. And even beyond that, we are also using our own intel officers at the various commands to be going through around town, hotels and places where we think we may find certain category of migrants who may be engaged, if it's in Galamsey or cyber fraud or whatever. So we have multiple bag of strategies that we are adopting. And yes, someone may be able to beat the first level, but then the second or the third or the fourth layer of checks will intercept such a person.
The public relations officer of the Ghana Immigration Service there. You're still watching Metro Television News. Still to come.
No near Nisha. Now, a crow, a bubble mana, and yin pana yin a woman. I bet you two go a yin pana yin a chico. No one can.
You're welcome back. Good to have you with us. The Minister for the Interior has reviewed the curfew hours of Bawku and its environs following brewing tensions in the community. According to a statement signed by the minister, the curfew hours, which was from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., has now been moved to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. effective Monday, September 5, 2022. According to the ministry, the decision to extend the curfew hours was based on an advice from the Upper East Regional Security Council. The review of the curfew, according to the statement, is as a result of threats to security in the communities concerned. Government has therefore called on the chiefs, elders, opinion leaders, youth, and people of the area to exercise restraint in the face of the challenges confronting them, as well as to use non-violent means to channel their energies into ensuring peace. Meanwhile, there's a total ban on all persons in the aforementioned communities and its environs from carrying arms, ammunition of any offensive weapon, and any persons found with any form of uniform ammunition will be arrested and prosecuted. My colleague Halidou Dasmani has joined me on phone to talk more about this. Good afternoon to you. Now, what's the general security situation in the town and how are residents reacting to this review of curfew hours?
Thank you. As yesterday, the Ministry of Interior, by the advice of the Upper East Regional Security Council, to review the curfew on Bawku municipality and its environment from the current 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. and to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. effective Monday, September 5. The residents of Bawku are not happy with the review because, according to them, they are saying that most of the attacks and the gunshots mostly happen during the curfew hours, and so they don't see why the Security Council or the Ministry of Interior has to review the curfew hours backwards. So they think that when the security or when the perpetrators find themselves in that act, they should be arrested and prosecuted rather than the security service being reviewing the curfew hours and making their business and their living being on terrible. So speaking to some residents off camera, they are saying that they are not happy at all. So if the Security Council can't come again with the decision they took yesterday, they would have been happy. So they are calling on the security agency to rather intensify the security situation in Bawku, as when the perpetrators involved themselves in that act, they should rather arrest them and prosecute them rather than reviewing the curfew hours and spoiling their business and activities in Bawku in the environment.
They're not happy at all, but anything else you observed that you'd want to share with us? Halidou. Hello, Halidou.
Hello.
Yes, I'm asking you, anything else you observed that you'd want to share?
Yes, what I have also observed is that since yesterday, the pronouncement of the review of the curfew, there have been a low business patronage in Bawku municipality because you don't see people moving up and down like it used to be. And so it looks as if businesses have been closed, so compared to the previous days. And so that's the current situation now. And here in Bawku.
Khalid Dasmani, thank you very much. The family of Office of the late Municipal Chief Executive for Kratchi East, Francis Kofi Okesu, has described headlines carried by some news portals as unprofessional, unethical, and disrespectful on what contributed to the death of the late MCE. According to them, the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Health Service have not released any official report confirming the cause of the MCE's death. The family and his personal assistants are therefore challenging some of the content in the news. Now, joining us via Zoom is the Constituency Communications Officer of Kratchi East, Stephen Obichimbi Jr. We're so sorry about what happened. Do accept our condolences, but begin by telling us who Mr. Okesu was and how his death has affected the community.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. In fact, Honorable Francis Kofi Okesu had been a loyal party faithful. He has served as a constituency communication officer, then served again as a constituency secretary, and last year, September, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo appointed him to serve as the municipal chief executive. In fact, he's a kind man, he's a very calm man, and open to every party person and even people who are not party people. So upon hearing his death, in fact, the people of Uti region, the people of Kratchi East and its environs have been so disappointed and so worried about the demise of the Honorable MC.
What was he in Kumasi? Was he on an official assignment?
No, police. It wasn't an official assignment, but before he left, the information that we gathered was that he arranged a meeting with the Minister for Agric, that's Honorable Dr. Afriya Kutu. He wanted him to support his municipality with some agric implements, and so they planned meeting in Kumasi. So Honorable left Kratchi East, to be precise, that by through Kratchi to Kumasi to meet the agric minister.
But have you spoken with any of the family members? How are they reacting to this news?
In fact, we are all not happy, most especially with the reports coming from some of the media houses, with some of their headlines saying some of the things that caused the death of the municipal chief executive. In fact, we expect that the media houses will be patient with for an autopsy report from the hospital or the medical professionals, and what the Ghana Police Service would say. Before this stories came up, the Ghana Police Service issued a report through their Twitter handle telling all of us about the death of the municipal chief executive, but there was nowhere in their statement that stated that spermatozoa was found on his thighs. All what they said was that when they broke open his hotel room, he was found dead. So we expect that the media houses will be patient and wait for an official report that will come from the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Health Service.
Thank you very much, Constituency Communications Officer of Kratchi East, Stephen Obichimbi Jr. Moving on to some other stories. Fisher folk at the new Takoradi landing site in the 2nd Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly area in Western Region are calling on government to intervene in the siting of an AstroTurf project in their landing site, which they say is forcing them out. They want the impasse between them and their Member of Parliament, who is spearheading the project, to be resolved.
New Takoradi is one of the densely populated fishing community in 2nd Takoradi in the Western Region. The mainstay of the people there is fishing, therefore activities ranging from mending of nets, fishing expedition to fishmongering occurs there. Unfortunately, the main landing site where most of these activities take place has been earmarked for an AstroTurf pitch project. The fisher folks are, however, fiercely resisting the siting of the project in the community, despite its significance.
We do not even have the space to sell the fish we catch. Why will anyone want to build an AstroTurf here? We pay for the boat we use here. It's not free. We like the way things are here. We don't want any AstroTurf. The little park here is adequate for us.
Before we can develop our community, the leaders must listen to us. Wisdom does not reside in the head of only the leaders.
Reacting to the anger of the fishermen, Assembly member for Lower New Takoradi, Gilbert Siam, noted that the project had factored all the concerns being raised into account, therefore the execution. He confirmed that despite the agitations, nothing will stop the project.
I plead to the Takoradi people that they should just make way for the progress of the construction to be done. And we will make sure, being that assembly member, I will try as much as possible to make sure that whatever the regional minister has said of creating the space will be done. And it will be shared accordingly to those who are there. There is no way we are going to create the rooms and give it to a different person altogether.
The AstroTurf project is being executed by the Western Regional Minister, Kobna Otrida Komensa, to enhance sporting activities in the community.
Up next is Business with Winston Taki.
Thank you, Ifwa. I'll be bringing you an update on Ghana's IMF engagement and also an update from the world of business right after this. And now to a first business story. Managing Director of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, has attributed Ghana's current economic conditions to external shocks emanating from the COVID-19 pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
According to the IMF boss, Kristalina Georgieva, these two factors have significantly impacted other economies. Hence, Ghana's economic challenges cannot be blamed on bad policies implemented by the Ghanaian government. She mentioned that like every country on this planet, Ghana has been hit by extraneous shocks. First, the pandemic, the Russian war in Ukraine. Therefore, there is the need to realize that Ghana's challenge is not because of bad policies, but the combination of external shocks. She further touted Ghana as one of the focal countries in the sub-region which need critical support from the IMF to address the current economic challenges. Touching on Ghana's possible IMF deal, Kristalina Georgieva said she is determined that an agreement with the government of Ghana can be reached by the end of this year. She added that constructive discussions have so far been held with Ghanaian authorities for a possible economic support program. Ghana.
I am very determined for us to indeed reach an agreement by the end of this year. We started very constructive discussions already, and to the people of Ghana, like everybody on this planet, you have been hurt by exogenous shocks. First the pandemic, then Russia's war in Ukraine, and that we need to realize is not because of bad policies in the country, but because of this combination of shocks. And therefore, we have to support Ghana because you're a member, you're a strong country, you have fantastic people, but also we have to support Ghana because your strength contributes to the strength of your neighbors. It contributes to a stronger world.
Staying on this, the International Monetary Fund has assured government of Ghana that its commitment to reaching an agreement by the end of this year for an economic program. Meanwhile, an assistant professor of accounting and financial management at the University of Sheffield, Dr. Sharif Mahmoud Khalid, says the nation needs about $5 billion to rescue the economy. He spoke on the Bottom Line Show with Kwesi Efiye on Monday.
Engage the people of Ghana. We all want to have a decent economy. You get me? And now, with all of the noise that came up, with not wanting to go to the IMF, we're back to the IMF table. We're going there very short change because we made, utterances that were not. So that's just why I'm of the view that the finance minister and his team have no business at the IMF table, right? Because they're already on a weak position.
Yes, exactly.
Right? They need to choose a strong team that would go in. because they listened to all of what they said. So now what are you coming to tell us? If I'm an IMF wank or a chap with the IMF and I'm going to the negotiations, I look up Kenneth Oriata and I realize that, look, here's a man who specializes, who's run an economy on bonds in the last 6 years.
That I agree. I mean, we have followed
in the last 6 years,
Yes.
I'll be smiling to the table because I know he doesn't have strength in negotiations when it comes to, dealing with IMF loans and concessions, right? So that's a very weak point or position you're going with already, right? So, they've made utterances, we are a sovereign nation, we're never going to go to the IMF. I wouldn't sit here and say the IMF is a bad institution. Right. I mean, we've had her.
But the conditionalities that will come with
it's
it.
what it is. Sometimes, as I said, it may end up being a poison chalice, depending on the conditionalities. And as I said, Zambia should be where to watch closely and see what template is being left there and see what tweaks they would be making to fit that of Ghana. And as it stands now, I've always told you, e-levy. But I think that it could be restructured, right? We have to re-engage the people. But I don't know how much good fit they still have. Right. I think Ghanaians have really been patient with this government.
Following the engagement with IMF, the Minister of Information, Kojo Nkrumah, has also been tweeting to the effect of what he expects from the IMF engagement. Now let's look at what you see. Say, according to him, Ghana back to a path of prosperity. Keep faith and let's soldier on together. This according to the Kojo Nkrumah, Minister for Information. He also said, next slide. He also said, though our challenges are not caused by us, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo also always takes leadership in finding solutions, no matter how difficult they may be. I remember his many sleepless nights during COVID, working hard to bring relief to a population pained by the impact of global crisis. Next slide. Once again, he is gradually restoring stability after the crisis have been trusted upon us. Despite the difficult economic waters we are sailing through, the post-crisis economic recovery program, the enhanced domestic program which we are working on with the fund, will push. So these are some of his tweets on his Twitter handle this afternoon. Now, away from that, a report by the Center for Affordable Housing Finance in Africa has revealed that up to 80% of Ghana's building materials are imported. This situation, according to the CEO of Chamber of Construction, Emmanuel Cherry, is the leading cause of the rising cost of building materials in the local market.
Government who's supposed to lead is also at at fault, because almost everything that he counts pricing is in dollars. Even our budget is quoted in what?
Exactly.
So
they'll give the
CD,
the CD equivalent,
to
and then
somebody's currency over that of yours.
They give the dollar
so you
equivalent.
So you have your currency and then promoting somebody's currency. What do you expect them to do? Which means if you are promoting somebody's currency free of charge, then how do you expect your citizens to do or the business community to do?
Exactly.
You're all cashing in there because they believe that that is where your value is. You see, so government also must try as much as possible to start moving. The policy makers as well as implementers, the regulators, must take the lead. Bank of Ghana has all the good policies and regulations that we have, the regulations that we have in there. But the implementation is where the challenge is. How do you call it? His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, he came with a mantra, Ghana beyond aid. He started this, but Buhari has taken a swab out of it, and then he has implemented. Buhari has taken the lead from him, even though he came with a mantra, he's still singing it. But as we speak now, it's not having any ripple effect on the economy. What are we doing? So the time has come for us to take the bull by its horns. Let's hold it by it the way it's supposed to be, so that we protect the local economy. The local economy can only be protected if we give incentive to local manufacturers to build, to construct or manufacture whatsoever that we believe that we can consume here, so that we close border on some of the foreign materials. If that happens, automatically, as he said, we'll develop appetite for foreign, local taste.
That's all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. Sports is next after this break. Stay tuned.
It's 45 past midday in the Ghanaian capital, Accra. My name is Phil John Quartin. It's time for Sports. Champions League returns to Europe. Chelsea, they will be in Zagreb. You've seen the fixtures on your screens pretty soon. Dynamo Zagreb will play English side Chelsea. Salzburg will take on AC Milan. They are returning after a long time. Then in Scotland, Celtic will play against Real Madrid. They grabbed it for 14 times. Last week will be in London. No, they will be in Germany against Schalke. Then tomorrow, Borussia Dortmund will see whether they can beat the men from Denmark. We're talking about FC Copenhagen. Then Sevilla will play against Manchester City, who are yearning for that trophy after winning 5 times in the EPL. Benfica, they will be in Portugal against the team from Israel, that's Maccabi. Then Paris Saint-Germain with the Galaxy of Stars will play Juventus. So those are fixtures over there, starting from 16 hours GMT. It will be Dynamo Zagreb playing against Chelsea, the team from London. Let's focus on the Black Star because the nation football governing body, in partnership with the head coach, have released squad for that tie against Brazil and Nicaragua. They'll be on your screens pretty soon. Find out who is in it and who is not. Richard Ofori, as usual, is part of it. He's based in South Africa. Nuruddin Abdul Manaf, also part of it, the goalkeeping department, and Joseph Wallacott, applies straight for Charlton Athletic. For the defenders, we have Dennis Odre, he's based in Belgium. Tyke Lamptey, the gentleman that plays for Brighton. Then Ali Duseidu, we have Rahman Baba also there. He still plays for Reading, who had the chance to play for Chelsea. Gideon Mensah is in the fray. Mohamed Salisu, the gentleman that is based at St. Mary's, playing for Southampton. Daniel Amate, his team is struggling with Leicester City, of course. Then Joseph Adu, not forgetting all of them in that department. Idrisu Baba, Elisha, Kofi Tre, Mohamed Kudus, and Andre Dede Ayew. Then there are new boys in the squad. There are new boys in the squad because I can see the gentleman who plays for Atletico Boba, Inaki Williams, is over there. So is Benjamin Tete, who has just joined Hull City. Then Felix Afenijan is also in the fray. So these gentlemen will be getting ready to play for the Black Stars when they take on that South American giants, Brazil. Not forgetting the team from Central America, Nicaragua. Well, that's your sports. My name is Phil John Quarter. Yaya is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Entertainment news is next. My name is Nanayata Noabuache. Now, the conversation on the factor to help develop the gospel music industry remains as people continue to offer ways to solve the problem. Ghanaian gospel songwriter and recording artist Quindela Yogli has reviewed ways put in place to help her thrive as a gospel artist in Ghana.
The gospel music industry has come a long way in establishing its presence, but the industry still faces challenges. Regular gospel enthusiasts continue to express important factors that can help the industry to succeed. On Metro TV's Entertainment Review, gospel songwriter and recording artist Quindela Yogli has shared the struggles put in place by her management team to assist her to succeed as a gospel artist.
I wouldn't say business-wise, but I was saying that my background is business development. That's why I studied in school. So it was very necessary for us to put a structure in place, not necessarily with business in mind, but just structure. Because whether it's business, whether it's ministry, whether it's a church, there has to be structures. Even churches have structure. There's an account department, there's a fire department. There are structures and there are leaders who know how to handle each department. So I may be the artist, I know how to go to God in prayer, get my songs, record the songs, but I may not be able to do other things. So I brought together people who believe in my vision and believe in my ministry, who can actually handle the other facets of them.
Speaking on business visibility to get your music heard as a gospel artist, Quindela stated that having the right people and deliberately nurturing those relationships can help you achieve your goals.
Media.
Relationships, first of all.
Okay.
Relationships open doors that
To whom, it's not even to whom you know, but relationships.
Relationships.
Okay.
They open doors that even money may not be able to open for you.
Yeah.
And you have to, again, the word deliberately nurture certain relationships because you have a goal and you know that this person on my side makes my world a little easier for me.
There are dynamics to developing Ghana's gospel music, and the conversation will certainly continue as far as the industry is concerned.
Tremble at your feet. You are the reason why we live, the reason why we breathe.
That's all on entertainment news. My name is Nanaya Tanobwache. Ifwa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanaya. Up next is international news.
The main opposition party in Angola, National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, has urged the Constitutional Court to hear its appeals and invalidate the declared election results that gave victory to President Lourenço's MPLA. Chairman and presidential candidate of UNITA, Adalberto Costa Jr., says discrepancies of over 500,000 votes changed the official results. The Angolan National Electoral Commission, in response to the petition, asked the Constitutional Court to reject the appeals lodged by the UNITA, Bloco Democrático, and the Casasi coalition contesting the official results of the elections. Liz Truss, who is now Britain's Prime Minister, promises to deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow Britain's economy after winning the leadership race for the governing Conservative Party. Liz Truss also stated that she will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues Britain has on energy supply. Israeli forces have shot and killed a Palestinian man during a large military raid on the northern occupied West Bank city of Jenin. The Palestinian Ministry of Health identified the man as 29-year-old Mohammed Sabani, whose death was announced just before 5 a.m. local time on Tuesday. At least 16 other Palestinians were wounded as a result of Israeli live fire and shrapnel, according to the ministry. Outgoing UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson bids farewell in an address outside 10 Downing Street just before his successor Liz Truss takes office. The outgoing leader says the Conservative Party leadership contest was an unexpected relay race and the rules were changed halfway through. In conclusion, he said, "We are one whole and entire United Kingdom. The union is so strong that those that want to break it up will keep trying, but they will never ever succeed."
And that's how we end the news here on Metro Television. But before we go, a look again at our headlines. Environmental activists petition Attorney General IGP over authorities' failure to prosecute foreigners engaged in illegal mining. Meanwhile, Deputy Lands Minister says Aisha Huang will this time around face the full rigors of the law. Interior Ministry reviews curfew imposed in Bawku and its environs following renewed threats of insecurity in the area. Plus, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is meeting the Queen at Balmoral to offer his resignation. My name is Ifwa Ando. Have a good afternoon.